Hello, welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we are making a hellebore arrangement. They are a key ingredient for winter and spring. They bloom from December through to March. They're very clever. And they come in a spectrum of colours from green and white right through to pinks and purples, often with all of these colours mixed in one brushstroke on one petal. They make an excellent cut flower and are very long lasting. However, they do require an extra conditioning step to keep them standing up and looking their best. There are 3 methods for conditioning hellebores. The first is to sear in boiling water for around 30 seconds or until bubbles start to emerge from the bottom of the stem and then stop bubbling. Point the flower heads away from the steam and protect it with your hand. Sear the stems after they've been cut to the desired lengths, as once they have been seared, they can't actually be cut again, and you should be able to see the bubbles there. The second method is to split the stem, and this is a good option for a bouquet, as you can go back in and allocate all of your hellebores, splitting them up the middle after they've been cut to the desired lengths in the bouquet. The third method is to score down the length of the stem by a few millimetres with a sharp knife. I recommend doing this as well as one of the other methods, as it always helps to give them that extra support. Now that our hellebores have been conditioned, I chose the method of scoring down the length of the stem, but if I was making this arrangement for an event, I would also split the stems up the middle, as per the second method, as I cut them for the frog. So let me walk you through the making of this arrangement. So I made this in a very rustic terracotta garden bowl with just a pin frog in the bottom. I only used 2 ingredients, hellebores and Leucothaway foliage, also known as switch ivy or coastal dog hobble, which I think is quite a funny name. This particular variety is the curly red. It's an evergreen and its leaves turn this magnificent red colour in the cooler months. But some of the leaves are still quite green, so I'm cutting the green leaves off so that I'm left with mostly the red colour, which I think adds such a richness to all of the pinks and purples and whites of the hellebores. Something to remember is that you can always edit your stems in this way, removing anything that's surplus to the requirement or isn't of a colour that you desire for your arrangement. So as I'm doing here, you always apply the foliage to the arrangement first, as the stems go into the pin frog and act as a support network for adding heavier flowers or heavier stems later on. As a loose rule, you always add your branchiest stems first and then add in succession of either delicacy or size. So your smallest flowers and most delicates will go in last, such as ornamental grasses or very small secondary focal flowers. The foliage phase of the arrangement is almost like a sketch, and then you fill flowers from within, above or around your foliage layer. So the foliage layer acts as a supportive network both physically and in terms of balance and structure, but also visually it supports your other stems. So you can see here I'm creating a sort of loose V shape where the stems on the outside are splaying out towards the edges of the vessel, so that I'm almost mimicking the shape of the vessel with the shape of the foliage. Next, I start adding flowers, working quite intentionally around the outside of the vessel so that the flowers appear to almost spill out over the edges. And the wideness of the bowl lends itself to that, and that natural spillage is what's going to give this arrangement a sense of romance and a sense of movement. The flower stems are being caught by the pins of the frog, which hold them upright and they appear to grow from where they've been placed. With this more natural garden style of floristry, the idea is to make nothing look too forced. There's a perfect place for everything, but we're not looking for perfection here because real gardens are never perfect. There are convergences and wildness and crossovers and tangles. So we're not looking for perfection here. We're just looking for ease, for beauty, lightness, and character. The flowers really do speak for themselves here, and I just guide them into place. Some go in higher up, some are placed lower down, and it's important to let go of too much thinking and just let the flowers speak for themselves. A lazy Susan is a must have for any flower arranger, as you must work from all sides, even if your arrangement faces the front, as you want to give it depth and dimension. So you can see here I work on a side and then I spin it, and then I work on another side and then I spin it. I work on a side, a front, a back, or even just a few stems are placed in, and then I'm spinning and then placing again and then spinning. So I'm getting a vista of the whole 360 of the arrangement. You can see that even with two ingredients, we have still managed to make something that feels dynamic and rich. And that's down to the diversity of the shape and colour of the hellebores. I'm always amazed by plants whose varieties differ so much that they could be confused with being a different type of flower altogether. The colours are so different, the texture of the petals, and even the size and shape varies quite considerably. This is a seasonally authentic arrangement as it uses only what we have available to us here and now. All of these flowers and leaves were grown on our farm and garden, so it's a celebration of this point in the year. We're starting to see lots of narcissi, muscari, hyacinth, and lots of other lovely things as we merge into spring. And we're so grateful for these hellebores for seeing us through the depths of winter. How special they are when flowers are so scarce in these cold months. We will miss them and look forward to seeing them again next winter. So, how do you know when you've finished your arrangement, when just enough is just enough? It is true that you can overdo it. I think it always helps to take a step back and look for any gaps that weren't intentional. Make sure all of the flowers are showcased and nobody has slipped or obscured or is out of place. Taking a picture always helps as our eyes seem to be more critical of photographs than real life images. Use your instincts, use your editing skills, and know when to put your tools down. That's quite important and something that you'll get better at as you gain more experience in flower arranging. So, my arrangement is almost complete here. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure you subscribe to our channel and tell us what you think in the comments. I'm going to leave you with the placement of the last couple of stems. Thank you and goodbye.